that's a perfect kick. And look at Chandler's.
Would you agree that he's never fought anyone like you?
Yeah, I mean that's an understatement.
Oh, I just want...
with all due respect, my goodness, I have done nothing but train myself in violent hand-to-hand combat since I was 14 years old, and I fought the best of the best. Yeah, not even close.
Connected on Tony's face.
It's like a fucking Dolly painting.
It's wild.
Yeah.
It's wild to look at, like, what happens to someone's face when a foot impacts their jaw. That Chandler knockout was rough.
The kick?
Got kicked right into the jaw. There's a photo of Chandler's foot.
When I beat Bobby Green before the fight, everyone was like, oh, Bobby's going to knock him out. Paddy's not on that level. And then when I choked him unconscious, everyone was like, oh, Bobby's old. Bobby was never going to win. You know what I mean? So it's going to be the same. I know when I beat Michael Chandler, everyone will be like, oh, Chandler's old. He's only ever won 2 fights in the UFC. Paddy's not that good. So I'm used to it.
He's going to try to stay away from me, and I'm going to slowly and methodically and surgically walk him down until his heart rate gets so high that the lactic acid sets in. He starts second-guessing himself. He's going to be on his back foot. His back is going to be close to the cage, and I'm going to land a right hand or a left hook and put his lights out within the first couple rounds.
The first time he gets hit by one of the toughest punchers in the UFC, it's going to be a different feeling. Chandler promises Pimblett a rude awakening in Miami. Will the Liverpool star's chin hold against a man who decimated Tony Ferguson with 1 kick? Or is the Baddy about to feel power he's never encountered? Reality strikes April 12th. Don't miss it. From wrestling mats to world championships, Michael Chandler has carved his legacy through pure violence and unmatched determination. Since age 14, he's been a student of destruction, facing only the elite of the elite. Former champions, Hall of Famers, men who break others for a living. The front kick that turned Tony Ferguson's world upside down wasn't luck. It was the inevitable result of decades dedicated to the craft of combat. Look at the highlight reel. Dan Hooker crumbling in just 2.5 minutes. Ferguson's consciousness erased with a single strike. This is a man who doesn't just fight, he demolishes, but even the mighty fall. At UFC 309, Oliveira handed Chandler a defeat that still burns in his gut. I got a horrible taste in my mouth about that last fight, Chandler admits, the fire in his eyes telling the real story. I'm extremely let down, more let down than I've ever been. Now, with his back against the wall, Chandler doesn't just want redemption, he needs it. And history shows that's when he's most dangerous. When my back is up against the wall, something spectacular happens, he warns. On April 12th, Paddy Pimblett isn't just facing a fighter, he's facing a man battling for his legacy, his future, and his pride. The question isn't whether Chandler will bring violence to Miami, it's whether Pimblett can survive it. Undefeated, unfazed, unstoppable. Paddy. The Baddy Pimblett doesn't just win fights, he collects victories while critics move the goalposts. The Liverpool phenom has heard it all before. When I beat Bobby Green, everyone said he'd knock me out. Then I choked him unconscious, and suddenly Bobby was old, never going to win. Doubt fuels him. Criticism empowers him. While others talk, Pimblett stays perfect in the octagon. Behind the distinctive haircut and magnetic personality stands a complete fighter, ready for his defining moment. I'm going to slowly and methodically walk him down until lactic acid sets in, Pimblett promises, mapping out Chandler's demise with surgical precision. His back will be against the cage. I'll land a right hand or left hook and put his lights out within the first couple rounds. The confidence isn't just talk. It's backed by a flawless UFC record that has even legends taking notice. Paddy's for sure a top 10 draw in the sport, declares UFC Hall of Famer Chael Sonnen. I have not seen anything that would disqualify him from having the potential to be world champion. He is 2 fights away from fighting for the world championship. The first of those 2 fights, Michael Chandler. 2 fighters, 2 destinies. 1 collision course set for Miami. In one corner, Michael Chandler pounds heavy bags with explosive force, each strike a warning shot across the lightweight division. This is Paddy's opportunity to get inside the top 10, Chandler declares between breaths. But this is my opportunity to show there are different levels to this sport. In the opposite corner, Paddy Pimblett meticulously sharpens his arsenal, confident in his blueprint for victory. Every session calculated, every drill purposeful, every move designed with Chandler's destruction in mind. The contrast couldn't be clearer. Chandler's raw power versus Pimblett's tactical precision. The veteran's desperation versus the rising star's ambition. The experts can't look away. If he can beat Michael Chandler in impressive fashion, says Islam Makhachev's coach Javier Mendez, his name needs to be in title contention. Dan Hooker sees the bigger picture. That's a win-win situation for the UFC. Chandler beats Paddy, he's back fighting guys in the top 10. Paddy beats Chandler, he's playing the game smart to get to the title as quick as he possibly can. Former champion Dustin Poirier leans toward experience. I just have a feeling Chandler's going to finish Paddy. He hasn't fought somebody with that power, that grit, that resume. But Tim Welch knows this is no ordinary fight. 5-round co-main event? That changes the game. Two men on opposite trajectories speeding toward each other at full velocity. When they meet center octagon on April 12th, something has to give. The question haunts every Pimblett supporter. Can Paddy withstand Chandler's devastating power? The footage doesn't lie. Tony Ferguson, hardened veteran, former champion, stiffened and collapsed from a single Chandler front kick. Dan Hooker, a durable warrior known for absorbing punishment, folded in less than 3 minutes. Joe Rogan breaks it down in raw terms. Look at Chandler's quads. Imagine how much power's in that. Good lord, he's just a ball of tense muscle exploding on your face. That explosive force has tested the chins of UFC legends. Now it's coming for Pimblett. The first time he gets hit by one of the toughest punchers in the UFC lightweight division, Chandler warns, it's going to be a different feeling, a different speed, a different ferocity than he's felt before. Dustin Poirier, who survived 15 minutes with Chandler in a blood-soaked war, doesn't mince words. Paddy hasn't fought somebody like that in the UFC yet. The power, the grit, the resume. He's fought the best of the best for a long time. Don't miss a second of the action as we count down to UFC 314. Chandler versus Pimblett is just the beginning. Hit that subscribe button right now and turn on notifications to get breaking news, exclusive fighter interviews, training footage, and expert analysis leading up to fight night. Our channel brings you closer to the octagon than anywhere else. Join the millions already locked in for the biggest fights of 2025. Subscribe now. Your UFC journey continues here.